Happy Monday to you. Apparently I'm on a roll with doing videos because this is 2 days on a trot I've done a video, but I keep having conversations which make me think of things and worth sharing. So I had a really good conversation with Carl this afternoon. Really fascinating, talking about data actually. And it really struck me that one of the challenges that we've got is creative thinking around data. So let's use the analogy that I've used in the past. I think we've worked in a world where we've gathered data, processed data, and put it into databases. That's a gas station. So historically, GIS has been two-dimensional data. So we've got the two-dimensional data gas pump, point lines and polygons. That's what's served out of that pump. And we've got certain vehicles which use those 2D maps, is the sort of vehicle of output for that. That's been the history of GIS. Remote sensing is somewhat similar. It's been a lot around photography and photogrammetry, so we've got sort of the imagery pump, if you like. That's kind of where we've sat for a long time, and we found uses for both of those things, business uses for those type of data. But what's been happening lately over the last 5 or 6 years or more is we're now adding more pumps in the gas station. We don't just have 2 pumps anymore, the imagery and 2D data pump. We've now got different pumps. We've got the LiDAR pump. We've got the hyperspectral pump. We've got all these new data sets which are coming in, and they're being collected from different places. Oh, we've got the SAR pump. There we are. There's another one. I've nearly forgot the SAR pump. But we're collecting all this data now. There's satellites bringing all this data in from all these different places, different frequencies as well. So we have multiple. We had a gas station in the past that just had 2 pumps. Now we've got 5, 6, 7 pumps. We've even got combination of data sets pumps where we're combining hyperspectral data with LiDAR data, for example. So we've got these data products. We've got meshes as well, which is imagery in 3D. I mean, we now create all this data. The thing that the industry is lacking at the moment is, and where the big gap is, what do we do with that data? It's all well and good having a pump that serves this stuff out, but if no vehicles are coming to the gas station to use that particular pump, then it sits idle. If everyone's just coming to the two-dimensional data pump and the imagery data pump, like they have done for the last 40 years plus, those markers are still well served, but the other pumps are sitting idle. So it's up to us to start exploring, and this is credit to Carl because he's actually doing this. He's exploring what to do with the data, some of these new data sets that we've got, and he's trying to understand use cases and high value areas where he can focus. Some of the satellite companies, a lot of the satellite companies are struggling here, and it's a difficult exercise, but they're falling back into their usual places of defense, big dollars in defense, but the usual place where it's always sat. They're not beginning to look more widely and open their minds up to the possibilities of what can be done with that data. What other vehicles they can bring in to use that data, what new vehicles. So we have these idle pumps with all this new data, and what we're not doing is finding vehicles which you could use that fuel, that new fuel, to solve particular problems. And I think that's the missing piece in the industry at the minute. That's where the giant leap's going to happen, is where we use that data more effectively and we start really, really drilling in with customers and understanding at a deeper level what some of those problems are that we can use this data to solve. So anyway, in my pink shirt on a Monday, that's my data talk. And again, thanks to Carl for an interesting conversation, and you lit a bulb in my head in thinking about this stuff slightly differently. So there's our challenge, people. Thanks for listening, and I'll do another one later in the week.